This goes into this again fills out a little bit of the backstory that we were getting from over here about Pinwheel Mines kept alive by a new deal with the USA. It seems like the mine had fallen on hard times. Things weren't going so well, but uh, a buyout as well as a shipment deal to the United States seemed to be keeping things along. But as we were finding out in the previous chapter, we were also finding newspaper articles and notes and memoirs about a explosion in the mine, an explosion followed by a cave-in that killed, I think, 23 miners. And we'll find out more details about that as we proceed through this chapter. We have a desk here that shouldn't be open. That ought to be locked. I started a new game, didn't I? This isn't... Is this real life? Alright, I'm kind of freaking out here because you're supposed to get the code for that. Let me run downstairs and make sure that I haven't accidentally loaded up the wrong game. Just a minute. No, the projector's still in pieces. Okay, so that's kind of weird. Somehow that desk is already open when I had to, the first time I played through, I had to get the combination myself, which actually, it was really kind of silly of me, but there's this, you can see there's this chalk board here that's got some information about who's in charge of ore tramming and, you know, what level these chutes are being filled from and so forth. And I had really been having a difficult time. This is on my initial playthrough when I was playing the review copy last weekend, or last week into the weekend. And I'd been trying to get into that desk, and I couldn't find any code that would let me get into that desk. And I was looking at this board, and it suddenly occurred to me, oh, 2804. That seems just like a random 4-digit number to be sitting there. I wonder if that's the code to open the desk. And then, you know, I come running back up to the office here. And I enter 2804 into the combination, and sure enough, it opens the desk. Now, the important thing, which actually I already have one of these knockers from the last level, but we're going to hang on to this one because it might end up being handy in the not-too-distant future. I don't know if this stamp right here is anything, but I'm going to just take this back to the case. In addition to storing the various notes, see, there's the knocker right there. In addition to storing the various notes that that you find around the case, allows you to come back and store any items that you find that you think you might want to come back to and use later. And since you can only carry one item on you at a time, it becomes very important to transport back to the case to set down anything that you might need. So let's keep this knocker. Now, again, I think I've said this, but in case I haven't reiterated this, I have played this section extensively, and I know how to get through the puzzles here. So as opposed to yesterday where I was playing through and I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing, some of the puzzles I was actually solving as I was playing. These I pretty much know what I'm doing. A refresher for anybody who didn't watch the previous streams, the projectors lying on the floor are an indicator that there is a puzzle in the vicinity that can be solved, and this also kind of tracks how far along you are in the puzzle. The projector's in 3 pieces, and so most of the puzzles will involve a few steps, and as you complete various steps in the puzzles, the projector will slowly reassemble, and then once you complete the puzzle, it will be completely restored, and then you'll get some piece of information, some new bit of narrative. So let's look around. Again, this is the funniest thing to me. I have harped on this. I've harped on this every time I've played this game, and it's becoming like my favorite unintentional joke in the game. Every single instance of this particular texture of paper that has 1, 2, 3 paragraphs plus diagrams, every single instance where this texture is used to indicate a note in the game, it's always a 1-sentence note. Turn television off after use. Don't put sugar in the fridge. Hang up phone. Lock door when going home. I find that so funny. And James Burton, who is one of the developers of Ether One, who we interviewed on the most recent episode of The Axe Factor, which if you haven't checked out, I would recommend you go to epicbattleaxe.com and listen to The Axe Factor, episode number 152. A very fine website, I hear. Oh, my tea's almost empty. This is killing me. All right. So we know, based on this projector, that there is a puzzle about. And I suppose it would also be worth saying that the puzzles in this game, interestingly enough, are they are voluntary. I don't have to complete puzzles in order to advance through the game. If you come back to the case, you'll see what I need to do to advance through the game is collect these red ribbons, like you see here. There are 8 per level. You can see this is one of the levels I've already finished. There are 8 of these ribbons per level, and all you really need to do is explore and find those ribbons, and you can advance through the game. But solving the puzzles unlocks much more of the narrative. It's more fun, especially if you enjoy that kind of gameplay, which I do. And I don't understand exactly what this means yet, but James also indicated that solving the puzzles might impact some gameplay late in the game. You know, like you might have more options available to you. You might be able to affect things more if you've solved the puzzles. So that's kind of interesting. Again, here's one of these red ribbons. That is 2 out of 8 on this, or in this area. Excuse me.
Not to worry though. They always get worse before they get better. With that said, I have been warned about, well, pushing these experiments too far. But I feel like I can trust you. You will keep this just between us.
The disembodied voice in the tradition of Portal, the disembodied voice is in my opinion, and this is not a spoiler, this is speculation, because again I have not finished this game. I've played through some of these areas, but I've not finished the game. I question just how trustworthy Phyllis, she's out in the real world. I guess she's kind of the controller helping you in this procedure where you're entering Jean's mind, and Phyllis has an agenda, and she said some ominous things, and I'm not sure I can trust her, so we'll find out. As you can see, 2 out of 8 of these ribbons have been collected. But I like doing puzzles, so I think we're going to do some puzzles. All right, let me see here. This is again another one of those bits of data or bits of information in the world where it's seemingly some instruction to the miners working here, but actually is a component in you, the player, figuring out this puzzle. So we've got this code of knocker signals that involve tin and iron pipes, and what do you know? We've got tin and iron pipes right here. And there are 4 example codes that were given. Receive from Industrial Center, receive from Brimcliff Mine, send a shipment to the dock ready for export, and a man entering the cage. So let's come back to that in just a second. We can see here that this is the entrance to the Brimcliff Mine. The mine is currently locked. And then we also, you see these chutes, and this gold color is usually an indication of something that you can interact with in some way. You'll see that on a lot of the materials in the world. It's just a nice little bit of subtle color information. I say subtle, but I mean it's a nice little bit of color information to let the player know that that they should be interacting with this object that we're seeing. You can see this chalkboard here has this gold color around it as well. Now, if we look here, we see that it's got the different levels the mine's operating at, and then the captains of each level. And this looks a lot like a note that we saw up in the office, a note that's been saved here in the case. So let's run downstairs to the whiteboard, and we see that the captain at 380 fathoms down is Nick B. So if we then teleport back and we click on this, we can fill in Nick period B. And nothing happened. But that's okay, because there's more to this. There's more to this than that we need to put together. And if I do have one kind of criticism for the one kind of criticism for the puzzles in the game. It's that I do find they don't do any hand-holding, which I do like, but there are times when I would like just a little bit, just a little bit of information to let me know that what I've done is correct, but that there's some other stuff I need to do. As opposed to filling that in and thinking, oh, well, nothing happened, so I must be wrong. It would be nice to know, yes, you're right, but there's more to do. It would be nice if there was a little bit of an indication. But I don't know. Maybe that, maybe it's too much of a nerf. I don't know. But again, okay, so we have this console here. And we have all these buttons and lever, again, in this gold color. Now, the lever is not doing jack, which probably means that, I don't know, it doesn't have power or something. So we come over here. We see I have this pressure control terminal. We saw a chart for this in the office. So again, let's run down to the whiteboard in the case. And oh yeah, we've got the pressure relocation settings for the ore tramming area, and that's 200, 200, 100, 300, 300. So if we come back, we can set this up to 200, 200. We'll leave that at 100, 300, 300, and then open the valve.
When you look back on it,
and now we can see this pressure rising here. And now if we come over here,
This is where all of Pinwheel's wealth was sorted into bags.
suddenly this apparatus works, and we can see that we've got
It was the captain's job to keep track of the ore
this
bodies.
bucket over here that we can use.
I'm sure I'll have more information for you once we head down into the mines themselves.
So now it looks like we can do something. And if you sit here and look at this, it's like, okay, so we have control over this bucket, which is designed to scoop up arsenic coming out of the mine and deliver it into these chutes right here. And then over here we have this board that indicates the amount of weight of arsenic being loaded in what chute and from what area of the mine. And oh look, we have this handy little gauge right here that shows us in kilograms how many kilograms of arsenic have been loaded into this particular chute. You might begin to put together that what we need is some way to load arsenic into this bucket and then drop it into the chutes in order to solve this puzzle. And you would be right. So how do we do that? I mean, look, it looks like we've got a mine car here. It looks like the track runs under the bucket, so it seems like what we need to do is we need to get some arsenic loaded into the mine car and get it over there. So for that, we come over here and we say, all right, what can we do? Well, we can receive from the industrial center. We can receive from the Brimcliff mine. I look and I see the Brimcliff mine, so maybe that's the one to go with. All right, so let's try to signal to bring in some arsenic, and for that, we're going to knock 2 times on A, which is the tin pipe, that one. 2 times on A, 1 time on B, 1 time on A again. So here we go. And nothing happened. And I don't know if you caught it, but there was just a slight sound effect there, just this short little zip sound. Doot. And that's the first time I've heard that on this puzzle. And that is interesting, because remember what I was just telling you. Remember I was just telling you I wanted some feedback. I wanted some feedback to let me know you're on the right track, but you haven't done everything yet that you need to. That's exactly what that sound effect just told me for this particular part of the puzzle. But I didn't get that when I correctly filled in the name of the 380 Fathom captain, Nick B, here over on this board. So that's interesting. So it appears that they have implemented that, but just maybe not everywhere in the game. So in any case, the long and short of it is that I can't seem to get that to work right now. But probably it's got something to do with this sign here and the fact that the mine is locked and not clear. I probably need to correct that before I can continue. So let's press on. Let's visit some other areas of the mine and see if maybe we can't figure that out. Battle MC Struggle, good evening. Good evening to you. Thanks for coming down and hanging out. I also tend to really get lost in this area. This
You're
is...
going the right way.